Think positive.
Welcome back to the GHOUL-AMBROSE podcast, GA for short. I'm your host, Prince. This is a space for inner work, self-improvement, self-discovery, mindset, accountability, integrity, reflection, and personal development. This podcast is built for growth, for honesty, and for becoming a better version of yourself one day at a time. New episodes drop every Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Today's episode is called Space. Some days don't need direction. They don't need fixing. They don't need meaning. They just need space. Because there are moments when everything inside feels full, but nothing wants to come out all at once. It's not chaos. It's not clarity. It's pressure. A lot can be going on in your head, and you don't know how to explain any of it. Not because you're confused, but because words don't reach that far. It's all there, moving, layered, overlapping. And the moment you try to speak it, it loses shape. Sometimes words can't explain it. It doesn't feel like a headache. It feels like a storm. Not loud on the outside, but constant on the inside. Everything moving, nothing settling. And the storms don't need to be explained. They need space to pass. So, you don't force language onto it. You don't push for understanding. You don't try to make sense of it too early. You create space instead. Space becomes a place to retreat without calling it quitting. A place to step away, to get away from others without feeling like you're abandoning anything. Not because people are the problem, but because being around everything all the time leaves no room to feel what's actually happening inside. Space isn't rejection. It's relief. Relief from constant input. Relief from expectation. Relief from having to explain yourself when you don't have the words yet. Space is where emotion can exist without being rushed into any language. Because not everything you feel is meant to be understood immediately. Some feelings are real before they are readable. Space gives those feelings somewhere to sit. It lets you regroup when everything inside feels scattered. Not regroup to make a plan. Not regroup to come back stronger. Just regroup so the noise stops colliding. Because sometimes the hardest part is admitting you don't know how to hold everything at once. Space says you don't have to. In space, it's okay to cry without knowing what started it. Okay to feel something rise and not push it back down. Okay to sit with heaviness without turning it into progress. Crying doesn't mean you're breaking. Sometimes it means something finally felt safe enough to surface. And space is what makes that safety. Space lets you breathe when your body has been holding its breath longer than you realized. Not deep breaths, not calming breaths, just breathing again. Breathing without fixing the feeling. Breathing without controlling the moment. Just air coming in. Air going out. And in that rhythm, something loosens. Space is where you start to find yourself again. Not the version that explains. Not the version that performs. Not the version that holds it together for everyone else. The real you. The one that feels first. The one that doesn't need to be understood to be valid. And this isn't about silence. Silence can feel empty. cold, lonely. This is different. This is not silence. It's floating. Floating is when you stop trying to organize the storm and let it move through you. Not sinking, not escaping, just floating until the pressure eases on its own. No right emotion, no wrong emotion, just what's present. And in that space, there's no urgency to decide who you are or what this means. No labels, no answers. Space isn't asking anything from you. It's just holding you until you're ready to move again. And when you do move, it isn't sudden. It's quiet. A quiet reapproach, not rushing back into life, not forcing readiness, just stepping forward again from a steadier place. You don't come back louder. You don't come back harder. You come back more honest. Because space didn't fix anything. It didn't solve the storm. It didn't explain it. It just gave it room. There are moments when the distance isn't intentional. It just happens. You wake up and realize you don't want to explain yourself today. Not because you don't care, but because the effort of translating what's inside of you feels heavier than carrying it silently. Everything feels close to the surface, but nowhere near words. Your thoughts aren't racing, they're circling, hovering, like they're waiting for something to settle before they speak. And you let them. You stop trying to sort through it. Stop turning inward with questions. Stop expecting clarity on demand. Because not everything shows up ready. Some things arrive unfinished, unstructured, still forming. And being around others during that process can feel like exposure. So, you create distance. Not to isolate, but to avoid interrupting what's unfolding internally. There's a kind of safety in not being seen while you're mid-becoming. A kind of relief in not having to narrate your inner weather, especially when the feeling isn't sharp enough to name, but too strong to ignore. It's not pain. It's not peace. It's something in between that doesn't want a label yet. So you give it time without tracking it. You let it move without guiding it. You trust that whatever it is knows how to pass through you without your help. And in that moment, you realize the distance isn't emptiness, it's allowance. Sometimes space isn't about understanding what you feel. It's about letting it be there without asking it to explain itself. No answers, no pressure, no timeline, just room. I hope you found something worth taking with you today. Maybe a new perspective, maybe a moment to pause and reflect. Thank you for being here and sharing this space with me. Your presence matters. If this resonated with you, share it with someone you care about, because growth spreads through connection. I'll see you next time. Take care of yourself, stay grounded, and as always, be safe.